So good morning everyone. In today's class, we shall discuss how to work with Oracle. So today we will be learning the programming part of the database. So the database tool which we use is Oracle. So we have different commercial softwares providing the database management system. So out of which we will be using Oracle. So I had already told you to install Oracle and also shared you the installation video. So in order to work with Oracle, first we need to start the database. So for the first time when you use the database, so it would have been started for you. Once it is started, so this Oracle database will be running in your system for longer duration of time. So in between, it may get stopped. So at that time, what you must do is you must go to start. So that is in your Windows start. Then choose the Oracle database. Within that, you will get the option start database. So right click on it and run it as an administrator. So which means you need to start the database with the administrator privileges. So once you start the database, so a command window will appear where a command will be executed and Oracle will get started. So in normal scenario, Oracle will get started. So if you get any errors on the command, so just read that error message and try to rectify it. So once you get the successful message, then what? Go to database homepage. So again go to start Oracle. Within that you will have the option go to database homepage. So when you click on this database homepage, a browser window will appear and it will ask you to log in. So once we start the database homepage, so this is our screen. So here it will ask us to log in with the username and password. So as I mentioned, so the username will be for the first time it is SYS. So you can either type it in lowercase or uppercase, and password is the one which we entered while installing the software. So enter and click on login. So once we successfully log in, so this is the again the landing page. So you can observe the username over here. Okay. So here when we install the software and for the first time log in with the username SYS, so it is the DBA role. So as we studied in our earlier classes, the various roles that a user plays in the Dbms environment. So one role is the database administrator. So it is the administrator who will install the softwares. So we are in database administrator role now. So database admin will have all the privileges. So we'll have the privilege to create tables, create other objects, delete them. So how to create a normal user? So here we are the database admin. So an admin can create other users so that we can log in with the other username and password. So in order to create a new user, so that privilege will be with admin. So for that, go to administrator, here database users, here within this database users, select create user. So this is the page to create a database user. So for example, let us create a new user called as CSE5B and give a password. Okay. So this is the password. So if we want to make the password to expire, so we can also select this. So by default we'll leave it as it is. So again there is an account status, whether it is locked or unlocked. So if it is locked, so this particular user cannot log in. So by default it will be unlocked so that the user can log in. So now if you check the privileges, so this is the privileges. What this user can do, can he connect with other programs or the programming languages, like can this user can connect from the Java program or Python or whatever. So if externally can they connect, so then that is connect. Then can they add the resources, so that is default. So if I want to designate the DBA role to this particular user, then I can select. So when I select this, then automatically this CSC5B user will become the database admin also. So along with that, so some other privileges will also be there. If we make it as DBA, then automatically they will get all. Otherwise, so we can select the privileges which we want. Can they create a database link, public synonym, create a type, create a role, create a table, view, procedure, sequence, trigger. So whatever role is required, that can be assigned. So in our laboratory scenario or in the mini project, whatever you do, so we need not bother about these things much, because we will be having only one user, so that is ourselves. So we are the one who will be using it. But in real projects in industry, so these things will be utilized, because there will be n number of people working on a project and each one will have a specific role. So at that time, so individually these roles can be allotted. So for what we will do is, we will just assign all the roles for ourselves, right? So you can use this check all button. So all the privileges along with the DBA is assigned for CSE5B. So after this, just click on the create button. Now the user is created. So once the user is created, it is showing us all the available users for this particular database. So username 5B, what we created, is here. So now we can log out from this username, that is SYS, and we can log in with CSE5B. So log in again with CSE5B and enter the password. So once again, we landed in the same page. Okay. So all users will get this same particular page. So next, what are the different things we can do in this login? So we can directly go to this particular SQL commands window. Okay. So you can directly click on this, or you can have a menu selection over here, SQL command, enter command. So this one we can select, or directly you can click on this. So again SQL commands, so we can select it. So now we will get a text area where we will type the commands. So today we will be creating these three tables. So just have a look at these three tables and their attributes. So student, department and admission. Student having attribute USN, name, mobile and email. Department having name, intake, university, degree, USN, department, quota and PUC. So these three tables, so we shall create today. Okay, again, let us come back to this SQL command window. So here we will be typing all our commands. So in SQL, we call each part of code which we write as a command. So first, so initially this is the first time uh, I created the user, that is CSE5B, and logged in. So far we have not created any tables. So if I want to check whether any tables are there in this particular user or not, so this is the command which we will be using. Select star from tab. So this is the command. So in order to run this, just click on this run button. So if you observe here, no data found. So no data found means there are no tables. So zero tables are there in this particular user. So let us try to create our first table, that is the student table. So just look at the commands. So in order to create table, so the command is create table. So this is a keyword. Create is a keyword, table is a keyword. Student is the name of the table. So once I type the name of the table, then open a parenthesis and type the attributes. So which was our first attribute? So our first attribute was USN. Here, while we create a table, we will be giving the list of attributes. And when we give the list of attributes, we must also specify its data type. So just like in C programming, how we define data type for a variables, here also we need to define the data type for attributes. But here there is slightly different. So USN. So what is the type of USN? So it is a string. So if we just talk in normal programming terminology, this USN will be a string. So string can be defined in the Oracle using the data type character. So the short form is CHAR. Additionally, in Oracle or in any SQL databases, we must also specify the size of this variable. So if it is a character variable, we must also specify its maximum size. So just like how we specify the maximum size of an array in the programs, so here we need to specify the maximum size. So what is in our scenario, what is the maximum size we can have for USN? So it is a 10 characters. So for our university, the university seat number will have a fixed length of 10 characters. So this is the first attribute. So after defining one attribute, so put a comma and then the second attribute name. So name is again a string, but what is the size? So can we have a size limit for the name of a student? So some people will have a very short name, maybe of 4 characters. So for some, it may be 20, 25. So, but we don't know. So when we have such kind of strings where we don't know its size, so it is better to give a greater size. So just like in our programs, we declare an array with size 100. So here also we can define a character with greater capacity. So char, maybe let us fix it as 50. So while defining the character variable, so observe here. So we can have another data type. So that is varchar. So varchar means variable character. So variable character is another data type. So let us see the difference between the character and variable characters and what are the advantages of using uh, variable character later. So for the time being, just understand. So this is the another data type. So then we have mobile. So mobile is, let us define it as an integer. So integer, so the small int we can write. Then email. So email again, it is a variable character. So let us again define it with 50 size. Okay. So these were the 4 attributes that were present in our student table. So what we can do is we can close this particular parenthesis, whatever we had here. So we have to close it. Then our create table command is over. So we have to run this. So just again click on run. So the message which we got is table created. So now a student table is created. But can we look at it in a tabular format? Yes, we can. For that, there is a command. Now what happens? So since this is a command window, so as and when we type more and more commands, so at some time this window may become blank, or if I log out and log in again, my command window will be empty. So maybe it will be like this when I open it. So at this time, I want to know whether that table is there or not. So if it is there, what are the attributes it is having? So again, let us give this command which we earlier gave. Select star from tab. So this particular command will list all the tables that are present in this user. So if you can observe here, the result is student and the tab type is table. So this suggests that student table is present in the database. But still I want to know what are the different attributes we created and along with their data type. So in order to know the details of an existing table in the Oracle, so the command which we use is describe, DESC, followed by name of the table. So describe student. Now if you observe here, I have typed 2 commands in the Oracle, but I want to run this, only describe. So what you do is when multiple commands are there in the command window, you select that particular command and click on run. Then only this command will run. So now you can observe here in the output, student table, what are the different columns, USN, name, mobile, email, then their data type, character, varchar2. We declared it as a varchar, but here it is varchar2, which means whatever our command was there, it got converted by the Dbms tool. So it will convert it into its internal format. So its internal data type format is varchar2. And the length which we gave is also over here. And for the number, length is not there. So along with that, we have some other details also, precision and scale. So these are useful for a floating point or decimal numbers. Primary key. So we have not designated any attribute as primary key. Nullable. So this nullable indicates whether we can enter null value for any of the column are not. So, and if we default values and along with the comments. So this is the description of the table, and the command is describe table, the short form which we have to use, DESC. So this is the table. So now we created a table, we saw its description, then we'll try to insert a value into this particular table. So the command is insert into name of the table, that is the student values, and opening and closing braces should be there. So whenever we are entering a command, so we can also put a semicolon at the end, so it doesn't matter. So we can enter the semicolon at the end of commands. So you observe here, insert into student values. So this is a keyword, into is a keyword, student is a table name, values is a keyword. So here in between we have to type the values. So which is our first attribute? USN. So USN value we can type. So whenever we are providing the data for a character or a variable character or a date or a time, so we have to put it in a quotes. So we'll put this in a single quote. So what is our USN? 4JN 18CS 001. So just an example. So after this, put a comma. Next, we have to enter the name. So let us enter the name. Then mobile number. So mobile number is an integer. For integer values or numerical values, we will not put a quote. So you can directly write it. So I will give the values. Okay. Then email ID. So email ID is a character. So you can observe the data type over here. So it is a variable character. So put it in a quote. So I can give like this. So just let us give the email ID. So have we specified all the values? So 4 attributes, 4. Here you must remember one more thing. The order in which you specify the values should be in the same order only. First USN, second your name, name. So we cannot interchange them. So the order should be maintained. Okay. So now select this particular command. So you can either select it or using a mouse, or you can click at the end of the line and click it 3 times. Then the entire line will get selected automatically. Click on run. So you can observe over here, one row is inserted. So this particular row is now inserted into the table. So this is the insert command. Now how to check the values? So in order to check the values, the command is select star from student. So this select star, so this we call it as a, whenever we are using this, so we also call it as a query. Select star from student. So again, select and from are the keywords, student is the table name. So just select this and click on run. So you will get the values over there. So USN, whatever we enter, name, mobile number and email IDs. Right? So this is the one record. Now suppose I want to insert more and more. So just take the same insert. So modify it. So I want to change it. So 16001. So some other name let us use. Let us modify the mobile number. Some email IDs. So select this and run. So again one row inserted. So in order to check whether that is inserted or not, use the select command, select star from student. Then if you can observe, the 2 rows which we entered is present over here. So similarly, we can enter any number of rows into this particular table. Now, so deletion we shall see later how we can delete. Before that, we shall see how we can avoid the entry of same USN more number of times. For example, let us see this 18CS001. So I had entered the name. So let me try and insert one more student with the same USN. So same USN 18CSS here. So I will put a different name and let me change the okay email ID. So just let us run this. So again one more row is inserted. So if you look at the result, so the USN of this Ramesh and Mahesh are same. Not just that, their mobile number is also values are same. So but in real world applications, this should not happen. So which means two students cannot have the same value of USN. So what can be done for this? So in order to avoid this, for each table, so if you remember the ER diagram, we had written a underline for that particular attribute. So which indicates that is the prime attribute or key attribute. So duplicate values will not be allowed for prime attributes. So what we can do is, in order to avoid this kind of insertion, we have to declare the USN as a prime attribute. So how to make USN as a prime attribute? So that is the question. So there are again two ways in which we can declare an attribute as a prime attribute. First is when we create the table. So along with the creation, we can specify it. Or we have an command, so that is alter. So alter commands can be used to change the primary keys or to define a primary key. So this alter command we will study in our later classes. So today we shall see how to put the primary keys in the table creation itself. Now we have already created a table, so we cannot change it. So what we have to do is we have to delete it and create once again. So the command to delete a table is drop table student, right? So drop table student. So this is the command to delete this particular table. So remember, when we delete a table, not just a table gets dropped, also the data present inside the table is also deleted. So drop table student, you just select and run it. Then, so the result is table dropped. So the table is dropped now. Now if you run the select star from student, so you will get an error message stating that table or view does not exist. So not just that, you can run this describe student also. It will also give you a message that is the object to be described could not be found, which means the student table is not present in the database. So when a table itself is not present, is it possible to insert? So just run an insert command. So it will again give an error message, that is table or view does not exist. So now let us see how to create a table and specify the primary key. So create table student, so open parenthesis, then USN character of 10, comma, name varchar of 50, then mobile, it is an integer, then email varchar of 50. So what are the different data types which we have in Oracle? Those things we shall study in our later classes. So we declared USN, name, mobile number, and this. So earlier what we did is we closed the parenthesis here itself and created a table. Now what we have to do is put one more comma over here and then use the keyword primary space key, and within this parenthesis primary key we have to specify which attribute we will be using as a primary key. So that is our USN. So primary key of USN. So this is how we specify primary keys while creating a table. Then close this parenthesis. Now optionally we can put the semicolon at the end. So select this and run. So you can observe over here the table is created. Now let us describe the student. So use a describe, run this command, we'll get the description. So now if you observe here, there is no change in columns or data type, length, but if you observe this primary key, earlier when we created the table for the first time, a dash was there, but now a number is there, 1. So 1 indicating that it is a primary key. And if you observe here, nullable, earlier it was tick mark was there, now it is not present, which means primary key attribute values cannot be null. Now again let us go and try to insert the values. So select this, run this, one row is inserted, then second row also will insert, it will also get inserted. Now when we try to insert the third row, so that is Mahesh having a same USN as that of Ramesh. So if we run this, we are getting a error message. And what is that error message? Unique constraint CSE5B dot sys underscore some number violated. So it indicates in this user, this is the name given for the internally system will assign a name to the constraint. So constraint is nothing but a rule. So in our earlier classes, we studied that constraint means rules. So a rule is violated. So it is saying that unique constraint, which means USN should be unique. So that is violated. So and hence, if we try to check the values that are present in the student table, only 2 values are present. And once again, if we try to insert this third row, it is showing the error message, and it will never be inserted as long as USN remains a primary key. Now if you observe here, so this is done. So USN cannot be repeated. Now, so let us try to change the USN. Now if we try to insert, will it get inserted? So yes, it got inserted successfully because we changed the USN. Now if we run the select star from student command, so we will get 3 rows. But again, if you observe here, the mobile number of Ramesh and mobile number of Mahesh is same. But in real world scenarios, two persons or two students cannot have a same mobile number, or they cannot have same email IDs. So how to overcome this? So can we declare mobile also as a primary key? So the answer is no, because we have already created USN as the primary key. We cannot add mobile number also as a primary key. So when we add two attributes as a primary key, then their combination will become unique. For example, so let us imagine. So this is the values. So I'll just type it over here. So this is the, okay, if I add mobile number also as a primary key, then this entire combination becomes unique. When I type the other USN with same mobile number, it will not be treated as a same combination. So they are different, because when we declare two attributes as a primary key, their combination will be unique. So individually they need not be unique. Here individually USN is separate or different, but mobile number is same. So this again will not solve our purpose, because we can change the USN but still mobile number can be same. Because when we declare both uh, mobile and USN as the primary key, then their combination will remain unique. So how to declare, if we want, how to declare two attributes? So here we can add, while creating a table, if you can observe here, so this is how we can specify multiple attributes in the primary key. So that is primary key of, then followed by the list of attributes we want to make them as primary, USN comma mobile. So even if we create a table like this, still the uniqueness of a mobile number is not solved. So we shall try that also. So before that, since we are modifying the primary key, so we cannot do it. So we'll once again drop the table and create a table with two primary keys, that is USN and mobile. So we created it. Now let us try to insert. So this Ramesh is inserted. The second one is inserted. The third one, according to our expectation, it should not insert because mobile number is same. But here what, okay, first let me show this with the same USN. USN 1. So Ramesh and Mahesh are having same USN and same mobile number. Here we got the error. That is again the constraint is violated because both USN and mobile numbers are same. Now let us change this. Let us change the USN, then again run it. If you observe here, the row is inserted, which means, okay, let us select and check the values. Here the Mahesh is inserted. We change the USN, but still the mobile number is same, and still it is being entered in the table. But we don't want it. We don't want two students to have a same mobile number. So that is the meaning of having two attributes as a primary key. So when we have two attributes as a primary key, their combination becomes unique. Still, let us check it one more. Let us make it the USN same and change the mobile number. Okay, I've changed the mobile number of Mahesh. Now let us see whether this gets inserted or not. Inserted. Why? Because even though USN is same, mobile number is different, which means the combination became different and hence it is inserted. Again, if you observe here, two students, 18CS001 is present twice. Again, in the application, this is not allowed, which means the same USN and same mobile cannot be inserted, which means their combination cannot be inserted. Individually, their value can be repeated. But in real world scenarios, we don't want this to happen. So what we can do? We cannot declare two primary keys. Only one time we can declare with multiple attributes. So you may think that why can't we write something like this, right? Here, like this. So one might think that we can declare something like this, two times primary key, one with for USN, one for mobile. But in databases, we cannot have two primary keys, which means we cannot declare it two times. So what does the SQL provides us is another keyword that is unique. So one more keyword that is unique. Unique of mobile number. Okay. So when we have attributes like this, what we do is we will designate one of the attribute as a primary key and all the remaining as a unique. For example, we can add an email ID also. Since two people cannot use the same email ID, so we can make it as unique also. So that is email. Okay. So email ID. So unique mobile, unique email ID. So now when we declare like this, USN cannot repeat individually, mobile number cannot repeat individually, email ID cannot repeat individually. So that will solve our purpose. Now try to create this. It will give an error because name is already used by the existing object. So we cannot create this particular table unless and until we drop the old one. So let us drop the old table. Then table is dropped. Now you select this. Run. So table is created. Now check the description of that particular table. So describe student. Now if you observe here, again only one primary key is there, but no mention of other unique key over here, right? Okay. Now let us try to insert it. So first row we will insert, it gets inserted. Second row we'll try to insert, it will also get inserted, but the third row, which is having a same USN, if I run, it says unique constraint is violated because the USN is same. So 001, 18001, here also 18001. Now let us change it to 18002. Now will it take? Yes, it will, because USN is different. So it get inserted, right? Okay. Now let us change the USN and let us change the name also. But we'll keep the mobile number and email ID same. Now what happens? Let us see. Now we'll just try to insert it. Again it is saying unique constraint is violated, which means the mobile number and email ID, they should be unique. Now let us change the mobile number also. Okay. Again unique constraint is violated because email ID is same. So let us change the email ID also. Now it should insert because all the three are different. So again let us check, it is like this. So USN, name, mobile and email. So mobile cannot be same, email cannot be same. So This is how we can create primary keys and unique keys. Okay. So just try to practice them. So I will send these commands. So just run this and check the output yourself. Okay. So we can stop here for today's class. So you can enter your USNs in the chat box and you can leave. But remember, you have to execute all this in if you have installed. That will be our lab exercises also. So our first lab exercise, I have already given you this. Okay, you have to create the tables, insert the values, drop the table, describe the table, and also you can check whatever tables are present in the database. And if you observe here, I have typed everything in the uppercase. But in any DBMS package, the rule is the keywords whatever we have. For example, create, table is a keyword, unique, primary, whatever we have. So they are case insensitive, which means either you can type it in lowercase or uppercase, it doesn't matter. But conventionally what we do is we'll try to type everything in the capital. But that is not a rule. You can type everything in the lowercase. But whatever the names and the attributes we have typed, that is student, USN, name. So they are case sensitive, right? All the keywords are case insensitive. So that's it for today's class. So we'll continue in our next class.